Mark Aliff is a manager at a car dealership. He's the general manager at Vidmar Motors. He stepped into city politics, opposing the council's decision to extend insurance benefits to the partners of gay city employees. That's fucking bullshit. He says he's opposed to Black Hills. He's in favor of a trash incinerator. He's in favor of municipal trash, municipal electric. I don't know if he's in favor of municipal trash. Definitely municipal electric. There's a lot of promising things about Mark Aliff. I think his policies, he gets a 3 out of 4 on policies because he's opposed to all the ballot measures, which that made it easy for me to oppose the ballot measures, and really your default position. Somebody proposes something, you should say no. Then I don't like Mark Aliff's position on the homeless. He said something about having no social services, and I know that's what a lot of conservative Republicans say, especially libertarians, strict, libertarians. But there's some Republicans that believe that, there's a balance, there's a combination of the two. And so if Mark Aliff is a strict conservative, is he going to cut busing? Is he going to cut the zoo? Is he going to cut parks and recreation? Right, just the essentials, food, water, clothing, shelter. So we're going to cut parks. No, I don't think so. I think what we're going to do is raise the standard of living here so it would be a great place to live for, anybody and everybody, for these responsible corporations that were Pedco's trying to encourage them to come in here. So Mark Aliff, he is against insurance benefits to gay city employees, but he's kind of like really nice, almost in a gay way. Where his hatred or disgust or whatever of gay people comes from, that he's a nice man who's straight, and he's just basically like, hey, everybody, I'm not gay. And, okay, Mark, we know, but there's no reason to hate gay people, and there's no reason to hate the homeless. I don't think that he would be against the zoo and against, the parks, but he could be. Those are non-essential services, the buses, the parks. I mean, some people need it for transportation, but then some people say water is essential, and then some people say housing is essential, and yet other people say, it's not American to help people with their housing. So I believe that he's not against all social spending. I know he's saying that out loud, but he's not against all social spending. And actually, to take care of the homeless the way I want to, it's a conservative approach. It prevents the thing from happening. It prevents them from being criminals. So it's cheaper. My way is cheaper. It costs to get like 3,000 houses. It costs about $31 million. To get 300 houses, it costs $3 million. So $3 million, yeah, that's $3 million, right? It's the same amount we give to the L3 DOS aviation people over there. So they got $3 million. $3 million gets 300 houses. 3,000 houses is $30 million, $31 million. And so that's, wow, $30 million, right? Oh, my God, look at me, tax to spend liberal, $30 million compared to the $315 million fucking goddamn jail, the Ministry of Love, that rape and torture chamber. So $30 million, that's $285 million. I've saved you $285 million, Pueblo City. Are we trying to save money or just waste a shit ton of money? We could be loving and compassionate, and we save money that way. Talk to Mark Aliff about both of those issues. Extended insurance benefits. I do think we need to cut back on all the money that we're spending for the city employees and whatnot, but if the straight couples get insurance benefits, then so should the partners of gay city employees. So I don't like that he's a homophobic bigot. I don't like that he's against the homeless, and I don't like that he said that he's against social spending, but he's not against social spending. I'm sure he's for roads, bridges, libraries. Is he going to cut libraries? And if he's going to cut all that shit, I cannot vote for him in a good conscience. And so perhaps I could convince him to admit that some social spending is necessary, and then such as Michael Stapleton. Michael Stapleton says the reason we need a zoo and parks is to have a high quality of life, and so as to bring in the rich and the businesses and to entice people to come to Pueblo City. And so that's the same thing with the solar trees, and that's the same thing with the homeless. Clean up the homeless. It's this being a national issue. People sweep it under the rug. They just push them down to the next city. And I do think bus tickets isn't a bad idea if it's done compassionately. There might be people stuck in Pueblo City who needs to go. And so, it'll be $200. It'll cost the city $200. And if they needed to get to some other city, then I think that might help, 5%, maybe 10% of the folks. But it's not to, hey, get the hell out of Dodge, kind of thing. But it's just if you just needed one ticket, you were just one ticket away, and yet you just kind of ended up here and you can't do anything about it. So I think that's one solution. But homes, they need fucking homes. And we need to build homes. So here in Pueblo City, we actually solve our goddamn problems. There's a homelessness problem, and we're not going to push it all to the side. We're going to get some homes. We need some homes for these folks, get them cleaned up, and then they can get, jobs and all that other shit. Without a fucking home, where are they going to store their papers? Are they registered to vote? You guys are not, this is not here to talk about Mark Aleph or Bob Schilling, who's a local realtor who's been in there for 10 years, and his big claim to fame is casting the deciding vote to ban smoking in public places. So, that's not true. Bob Schilling's done a lot of shit, so he should actually just brag about his record. He's making decisions. He's leading the debate, the conversations. It almost seems like Noel Rocky is grooming him to be the president, to lead the, next year's city council with conversation, giving out awards, giving speeches, basically acting the part. So Schilling's presence is much more consequential than his stupid... I guess that was a big thing to ban smoking, and I'm in favor of that. Legalize weed, ban smoking. I'm okay with that. So I guess in 2003 that was huge news, but he's done, he's been a city councilman for the last 2 years. What the fuck have you done, Bill? Bob? Huh? What you done? Talk about Dennis Flores. I haven't really got a chance to look into Dennis Flores or Jason Muniz, so automatically they weren't able to reach me. They weren't able to reach me with their platform and their ideas. I know of them and I know a little bit of their essence, but Dennis Flores, that's the person I want to talk about. And, yeah. So not Mark Aleph, not Bob Schilling, not Kevin Covert, without the T, Covert. So he flip-flopped, but then also Josh Bruns flip-flopped too. So on the street repair tax, he was for it, and then he was against it, and then Kevin Covert was also for it and then against it, which is like, what the fuck? They were in favor of the street repair tax, and then they changed their damn mind. And Taylor Voss is new school. Dennis Mays, didn't he look authentic in his commercial? He looked so natural. It didn't look like he was reading off a teleprompter whatsoever, right? Charlotte Perez has many conservative positions. I think overall she is left of center. She's a progressive moderate. So Charlotte Perez is a progressive moderate. She has lots of progressive planks in her platform, so lots of progressive goodies. She's for police accountability. I haven't heard anybody talk about police accountability. We do need some oversight, which actually Tommy Farrell and Josh Bruns is in favor of. So having a citizen and complaint authority board, a citizen oversight board for the police so that there's a check over the police. City council would be that check right now, but that's, city council has a lot to deal with, so make a department, a citizen and oversight, complaint board. So Dennis Flores, I don't know what he's in favor of, but Charlotte's for Wi-Fi. Dennis Flores is not a Republican. It turns out he's actually a Democrat. He's affiliated with the Democratic Party. Now, he is a titan. He's, he's like huge here in the community. I would say he's almost probably bigger than Dennis Mays in terms of how active he is in the citizen groups. He's 70 years old, so he's been on this planet for over 7 decades. So that would be what, the 1950? So he would have come of age during the 60s. So the 60s, the greatest generation. So that's good, all right? Dennis Flores comes out of the 60s. He's a retired insurance executive. He co-chaired a Pueblo County ballot drive that voters approved in 2009. I hate when they use this stupid language. Peter Roper, like the secret language. What is the ballot drive? What is the specific ballot drive? Why just say a ballot drive? Flores served on the Pueblo Urban Renewal Authority and Pueblo Regional Planning Commission, the Board of Governors of the Colorado State University System. He is a governor of that. They call him the governor. He's a board of governors of the Colorado State University System. So the Colorado State Senate confirmed Dennis E. Flores. I wonder what E stands for. The everyman, elitist, I don't know, Dennis E. Flores, and Penfield W. Tate, whatever, the third, to serve as members of the board. And Flores and Tate were appointed by Governor John Hickenlooper earlier this month, unanimously supported by the State Senate Education Committee to serve the CSU system in this capacity. He started out a 4-year term. It expired 2014. He's doing another 4-year term to expire next year, 2008. He was a school board member for 2 terms. He was, is the Board of Governors, whatever, with Colorado University. And then he was on the city council. He was kind of like a scab, right? He was sort of one of the people who replaced. All they did was share emails. I don't know how secret this thing was, but this seems like this was much ado about nothing. 3 city council folks got recalled for talking about city business over email. And the sunshine laws, apparently you can't even, have a conversation. You can't just shoot the shit with somebody. You can't just talk to somebody. You have to say everything publicly if you come up with a new idea or a new initiative. So to finish off his resume, Dennis Flores graduated from the University of Southern Colorado, which is now Colorado State University, Pueblo. He was an insurance executive. He's a member of the current treasurer of the Latino Chamber. The Chamber of Commerce, because it would just say that, right? So Latino Chamber Development Corporation. He served as the past chairman of that. Dennis Flores is an advisory board member of the U.S. Bank Pueblo. So he's a banker. So he's an advisory board member. So what does he advise? Have free checking? Oh, no, he don't believe in free fucking checking. U.S. Bank. What's he doing with U.S. Bank? And he serves on the President's Advisory Council for CSU Pueblo, the President's Advisory Council. So he's doing something with CSU Pueblo, something with the entire state university system, something with U.S. Bank, Latino Chamber Development Corporation. He's served a whole bunch of positions. He's been school board member. He's been city council. He actually bragged about that at the debate. He's the only person that's ever passed any, ordinance or resolution before. So he, in terms of experience, I think he's got the, capability and the know-how. He might be the front. Had overlooked him. So he was 70 years old. So I was like, he's the establishment, 70 years old. He doesn't have a chance. But he was probably the most mature person at the debate. And, he also started out the conversation by saying that everybody deserves a voice. So he basically said, thank you to all the other candidates for sticking their neck out. So he was a good moderating the voice, like an old, wiser man, right? Just kind of like, this is how things are. This is how we're supposed to talk and discuss. This is how democracies work. So let's get to some of his issues, his platform, I guess. This is just questions he answered for the chieftain. He supports decriminalizing marijuana. So did the chieftain ask that? The chieftain asked if they're in favor of decriminalizing it. It's legalized, so it's not just decriminalized. Weird question. Somebody's still living in the past if they ask. Flores is for the street repair tax. Dennis Flores is for supporting decriminalizing marijuana. He, in fact, said that the free market system can help determine how many marijuana businesses should be allowed in the city. It should no business license. Everybody should just be allowed to sell marijuana. It should be free. Everybody could capitalize on it. That's the best way. That's a free market. Laissez-faire, no fucking regulations, right? I mean, seriously, when it comes to marijuana, we're going to have all this extra, didn't Donald Trump say for every 1 regulation, 2 are going to be deleted? So we need to, the citizens for a greener Pueblo are calling for 1,000 marijuana licenses. Really, we believe that we should have unlimited amount, but 1,000 at least. We only have 8. So he's for the free market. So yes, let the free market decide. Right now, the fucking government is regulating the shit out of it with these damn licenses. But that's how they collect taxes. And I heard Dennis Flores be critical about the so-called strong mayor system, even though they're saying it's not strong, weak, moderate. I don't know. Fucking Big Daddy Strange, right? Oh, Big Daddy Strange gonna save us all. Oh, Big Daddy Strange gonna save us all. So he wants to study how the city can improve sales tax collections. He thinks the council should meet regularly with major employers so the right hand knows what the left hand is doing. So all of our large institutions, let's have quarterly talks So that's, that's smart. That's a good idea. I agree with that. Community-wide focus group to look at heroin, right? So we're going to get a bunch of people to look at heroin. So he doesn't really have any answers when it comes to heroin, but this is almost like Charlotte Perez's platform. Did Dennis Flores copy Charlotte Perez's platform? Because it sounds like that's exactly what she was saying, right? So Dennis Flores is for the free market when it comes to licenses and marijuana. When it comes to the improving sales tax collections, he wants to get all the big employers together. He wants to focus on heroin. He believes in the street repair tax. He faults the city administration for not being more user-friendly for local businesses and residents needing services. Too many times I hear that people have had a bad experience with various departments. Yeah, what the fuck is up with that, Pueblo City? You got 15 departments. You're there for the public. You're there for the people. So you need to make sure the people are happy, and if the people aren't happy with you, maybe we should just rewrite the charter and let's just come up with a whole bunch of new departments, because this isn't working, right? This is failing. This is just not working. Keep the institutions that are working, but the ones that are failed. Petco, looks like he's for Petco, the city's half-cent tax for job recruitment. Fucking Peter Roper's changing the wording to all this. Sales tax collection groups with the big businesses. I think it's just a common sense idea. Pro street repair tax, pro marijuana free market when it comes to the marijuana industry, and making sure that the departments are user-friendly and inviting to the public. And he's in favor of Petco. It sounds like it's crucial to our city to provide incentives to companies. No, it's not. Just get some solar trees. Get some fucking solar trees. Make it worth living around here. So we need to fix up our own goddamn city. We don't need any of these outsiders. So he's wrong about that. It seems like he's a big Petco man. Aisha Yerin and Dennis Flores and me is right when it comes to the street repair tax. So I am in favor of the street repair. $1 per month, $12 a year. How can you? What's not to like? If voters turn that down, street repair tax on our water bill, Josh Bruns and Kevin Cover were for it before they were against it. So Bruns and Cover, either they evolved on the issue or they're flip-flopping. And I would like to understand what happened. What happened with they were on the right side of history, and then they went ahead and said, no, let's just be on the wrong side of history. Dennis Flores said he's leaving to the voters the decision of the strange mayor. He was critical of it, but this is kind of a cowardly approach. It's also, he didn't read the charter. He didn't read the actual fucking document, the 10 pages, and look at the changes. He didn't compare and contrast. So just leave it to the voters. It's illegal. So you need to understand the law and how the Constitution works. Dennis, you need to understand that we have home rule city. We have autonomy here, and our charter is, all the laws of Pueblo City come out of our charter. So that's the reason why we have the lines. Favor of ballot question 2B, which is the $18 million for the 24 new police officers. There is a questionable line in that ballot question about how it seems like they could just raise as much as they wanted to. Increases in taxes for more police officers. They have body cameras, and the cops have done a good job. It's safe here. So that's an institution that I would like to carry on with. So the police have done a good job, so I'll give credit where credit is due. But we do need criminal justice reform. And the war on drugs, it's just a bunch of superfluous. We're wasting our resources when they need love and compassion, not violence and fascism. So 2B, until we actually have criminal justice reform, jail reform, until we take care of our homelessness issue, our homelessness problem, that's all jail is. We're just housing the homeless in our jails. I hope 2B is not 2B. So that's Mays' congressional district is the 3rd district. His House district is the 46th district, and then the Senate district is state Senate, the 3rd state Senate district. So the former school board president. So he wasn't just school board for 2 terms in a row, and he would have been school board, I don't know president, but he was a member of a school board, I think, during Henry Roman when he was the superintendent of the late 90s, and then fucking Joyce Bales. He would have been around for Joyce Bales, I think, which is scary. Joyce Bales is a piece of shit, and fuck Joyce Bales. She can kiss my ass, that Tennessee bitch. She was a tyrant. She pushed out the school board. She intimidated people. She was she knew Linda Moodbell or something, but she didn't know Sudbury nor Montessori nor Sugata Mitra or Jean-Jacques Rousseau or Flores says he supports council looking at other energy options at Black Hills Energy, but also believes council should talk directly to Black Hills senior management in South Dakota. And he's like, the person, the manager placed to manage the Pueblo operations don't have any fucking decision-making power. So he's like, let's just go talk to senior management. Let's go to the headquarters. Let's go to these. But South Dakota, I mean, that should tell you enough right there. All profits are going to South Dakota. All profits need to go to Pueblo. Fuck these corporations. I mean, if we had corporations like local-owned corporations, if we had seeding plants, if we had a rigorous entrepreneur sort of, spirit where we finance our own and develop our own. Why the fuck we keep on asking these saviors to come from out of town, right? Hopefully what? We got 3 or 4 Walmarts. Is everything great? Is it all gravy now? No, we could have done that shit ourselves. And we could buy a Walmart or have our own kind of Walmart and profit for the city and make the analysis of Dennis Flores is a bit mixed, okay? It's a bit mixed. He's in favor of 2B, which he's absolutely wrong about. So he's wrong about the 2B thing. Looking at heroin, no, you need to end the war on drugs. He's in favor of PEDCO. So he's for the street repair tax. He's for the free market when it comes to marijuana. But I don't know, strong merit. He says leave it to the voters, so he doesn't have an opinion on it. And let's see here. The things he was saying back when he was a city councilman, because he got appointed to fill Chris Kaufman's seat. So Chris Kaufman, he got kicked out because he sent an email to somebody for doing, something, whatever, like Hillary with the email scandal. So there was some, but it was actually less than that. It was just, anyways. So Flores gets in there. He says balance in the budget, public safety, health, and then the condition of the city streets. So when Flores and Mark Aliff mentioned that $4.5 million that they get from the state, the transportation department, so $4.5 million, he's essentially saying he was for the city streets when he got appointed, and I'm not for sure when he got appointed. It says his term expires at the end of 2015. So it only could have been, a year or two, right? So maybe 2013 to 2015. So he was in there for 2 years. So what did you do, Dennis Flores? Yeah, you signed a bill or whatever, but you said you were going to get us new city streets and public safety, health, and balance in the budget and this and that. You're a city councilman for 2 years. Did you do it? I mean, you got a record. He's got a record. So I like looking at his platform. He's got a lot of ideas about this and that. I don't know if he actually has a platform, but you could gather all these ideas together and put it into some kind of list. He was a insurance salesman, steals city agencies, property